Hello everybody, my name is Michael Hill and I'm the game designer behind SFA STEM Circuit Challenge 2. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to design custom levels for SFA STEM Circuit Challenge 2. So, for a basic overview, the game reads in levels from text files found in this SFA STEM Circuit Challenge 2 _ data folder. If we then go into the levels folder, we'll see this list of all of the levels in the game. Now if we scroll all the way to the bottom, we see this level called level C-1.txt, and this is the level that the custom level pack loads in the game's level select screen. And so this is the level that we'll be modifying today. If we load that up in Notepad, the first thing that we see are two numbers at the top of our page. The first one here is the size of the level we're going to be designing on the x-axis. So how many characters we've got it long on this x-axis, and then the second number is the size of the level on the y-axis, so how high up and down the level is going to be. So we see here that we've got 25 wide by 14 tall. This means that we've got 25 on the x-axis, 14 on the y-axis, and this ensures that our level is going to fit pretty comfortably on your average screen. The level will automatically resize to make sure everything fits on the screen well, but 25 by 14 fills up most of the screen and it looks pretty good. The next thing that we see is the name of the level. So here it just says placeholder name. We're going to change that to say my custom level. So whenever the level loads up in game, that's the name that's going to be displayed at the bottom of the screen. After that, we're going to get into the actual design of the level. We have a large grid of these ones and zeros. These zeros tell the game that this part of the level design is open for the robot character to walk around. So we could walk freely throughout all of these zeros. And then the ones define what the walls of the level are going to be, so things that the robot can't walk through. The first things that we need to add here are a robot for the player to control, and then an exit for the player to leave the level and complete the level by. So I'm going to put my robot here at the top right, and the way that you do that is you'll go and highlight where you want it to go and then type an R. The game reads that R and it knows that you want a robot to start at the top right of the level. Same thing for the exit, we're going to put down an E. That's going to make the portal that the robot goes through to get to the next level. I'm going to go ahead and add some zigzaggy walls in here. So I can do that by getting rid of zeros and replacing them with ones. So you see that we've got here this little wall that we've got to walk around by going through the zeros and avoiding these ones. So if we want to add any red breakable bug blocks, the way that we do that is we'll replace our zeros with a few twos. So that's our breakable blocks. Next we're going to be adding some hazards in. So we'll do that by deciding where we want to put a few, and then we'll delete that part of the level and we'll type a few X's. Those represent our hazards. So I've got a couple of hazards right here before we get to our breakable blocks. Let's add a few more in here. Maybe we'll put some along this side wall. And there we go. So now we've got a level that we should be able to load up in game. So let's go and test that out. So let's go to File and let's hit Save to make sure that our changes to this level have been saved. Let's minimize this and we'll back out of here to get to our executable. And if we load this up, we're able to see that if we go to the custom level pack, and we select that we've loaded into the level of our creation. So you can see the wall of ones that I've added here, alongside the couple of hazards that I've placed along the wall, and the breakable blocks that I have placed to the left of this wall. If I go over here and I shoot down these walls, I'm able to touch the exit that we placed down, and complete the level. So we have confirmation that our changes are working, so let's keep going and get a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to reopen Notepad with our custom level in it, and we're going to make a couple of more changes, namely around how to actually add circuits to our levels. So the first thing that we need to do for circuits is place down a battery. So to do that, I'm going to carve out a little section of wall here that's going to be where our battery starts, and we designate where the battery goes by replacing something with a capital B. That's how the game knows where the battery is. And so then we need our battery to open something. And so what we're going to do is we're going to gate off our exit and put a door on the wall. So we're going to gate off our exit by placing down a few ones along the wall to make this sort of cage for the exit to be in. And then we'll replace this one with a D. This is where our door is going to go. So now we have our battery and our door that gets opened, powered by the battery. But we need to connect these two together. So how do we go about doing that? So the first thing that we need to know is that there's two kinds of wires. There's the capital W wires that the player is not able to pass through. They'll generate a wall behind them. And then there's the lowercase w wires that the player is able to walk over. So let's demonstrate. Let's start building out a path of wires. One wire has to come out of the top of the battery, so we'll put a capital W there, and one has to come out of the bottom of the battery, so we'll put a capital W here as well. Now we have our two leads for the wires. I'm going to go ahead and take this top wire, and we're going to build it out a little. We want capital W's here because we don't want this wall to become not a wall if they were lowercase. But then we need our circuit to go down, so we're going to put lowercase w's as it goes through the spots where the player should be able to walk through. And then let's curve it around to the left and replace this one with a capital W. That way our wire is touching the door. The wires have to be touching both the battery and the door for it to carry a connection. So then we'll come over here and do the bottom part. Let's just throw down a couple of lowercase w's. Make sure that you're staying within the bounds of the level. If I was to throw a W out here, that wouldn't get read by the level or anything like that. So it all needs to stay the same size. And then we'll have it go through the wall at the bottom to make it simpler. And so we've built out this bottom wall with capital W, and we've got lowercase w wires here. And then we'll connect to the door once more with the bottom with that capital W. So now, if I was to load into the level, the connection electricity would travel from the battery through the wires to the door and automatically open the door. But that's a little bit against probably what we want to be doing. We probably want to make a level that the player has to do something to complete. We want them to maybe push a chip into place, just like in the main levels in the game. So the way that we do the chips is that we have to designate both a spot for the chip to spawn and then a spot for the slot that the chip corresponds to. So we'll go ahead and do the chip slot first. We need to make sure that that's along our wire pathways. So here, I'm going to go ahead and place this right bracket symbol. This right bracket designates that I want this to be a chip slot. And if I want the corresponding chip that goes in that slot, I'll put a left bracket somewhere over here that our robot has to push down and to the right into a slot, and then it'll open the door because we've blocked off this wire. Therefore, the door won't open on its own. So, there are 4 different kinds of chips. The chip options we have are the parentheses, the brackets, the squiggly brackets, and then the chevron angle brackets. The corresponding brackets are the chip and the slot respectively, so the chip is always going to be the left side of those groupings, and then the right side of the groupings is going to be this chip slot. And I'll have that up on screen so you guys can see what corresponds to what. So now we've got a level with a chip in it. Let's go and test it. Again, make sure you go File, Save. That way our level changes will be read by the game. And let's open up the game and see if our level works. So we can see now that we've got this battery that we placed here. If we mosey on over to the other part of the stage, we can take this chip that we spawned using our brackets and place it into the chip slot that we spawned using our right bracket. And now the circuit is able to be completed and the door opens, allowing us to complete the level. You can use this to design puzzles in the game engine however you want them to be. I'm going to go ahead and close out of the game, show you one final thing before we wrap up today. So if you wanted to have multiple levels in your level pack, the easiest way to go about doing that is to go back into your data folder, into your levels folder, we're going to click level C1, then we're going to click this copy button right here, and we're going to click this paste button right here to make a copy of that level. Let's rename that. Instead of level C-1, we're going to name that level C-2. Now, let's open up level C-2 in Notepad, just like we were doing with level C-1, and we'll call this one my second custom level. And we're not going to change anything else, just to keep the time on this a little short. But we've got our second custom level right here. Now if we go back to level C-1, what we can do is go below our level design. If we type level C-2.txt, the identical name of our file that we've just created, this will allow us to have the first level lead into the second level. And then our second level doesn't have anything down here, so that'll be the end of our level pack. Let's make sure that we go in and save our changes again. That way our changes are saved and we're able to see them in game. Let's go back to our game and let's see if it loads us into both levels. Alright, so we've got our first level, my custom level. The title is down there at the bottom. Let's go ahead and complete this level. And then we'll see that it leads us into my second custom level. Now if I go and complete this level, and go through the portal here, this should be the end of my level pack, and we should see the confetti at the end. Beautiful. Well, that's all I've got for today. I hope you've enjoyed learning how to design your very own SFA STEM Circuit Challenge 2 level. I wish you happy designing, and never forget to play without limits.